Football is a universal language, and in Denmark it's part of our DNA. From childhood memories to dreams of the national team, football connects generations and communities. Our passion is passed down, uniting us in pride, joy, and sometimes heartbreak. The world remembers Denmark's fairy tale Euro 1992 win, but the heart of our football is the domestic league. The Superliga is where talent is born, local heroes are made, and our football culture thrives. Each club represents a city, a history, and a unique identity. Every match is more than just a game. The league is a celebration of community, resilience, and ambition. We'll explore how Danish football transformed from amateur roots to a professional spectacle. This is a story about people, passion, and the power of football to unite a nation. Welcome to the story of the Danish Superliga. Before 1991, Danish football was built on amateur spirit. Players were carpenters, teachers, and postmen by day, footballers by weekend. Clubs like Copenhagen's Bold Club and AGF Aarhus created dynasties rooted in local pride. But as Europe embraced professionalism, Denmark's best talent left for bigger leagues. The DBU introduced semi-professionalism in 1978, but the gap with Europe widened. Tradition clashed with the need for progress. The league's structure and resources lagged behind, threatening the future of Danish football. A radical change was needed to survive and thrive. By the late 1980s, Danish clubs struggled in Europe, not for lack of talent but outdated infrastructure. Too many teams, diluted quality, and low TV appeal left us behind. Players wanted full professionalism, fans wanted excitement. The solution? A smaller, elite league of 10 clubs aligned with Europe's calendar. This would raise standards, attract sponsors, and keep talent at home. It was a bold gamble, but essential for the future. The Superliga was born out of necessity and ambition. Danish football was ready for a revolution. In 1991, the Superliga launched, a new era for Danish football. 10 top clubs, a modern brand, and a fresh identity signaled the shift. The inaugural season was a short, high-stakes tournament. Every match mattered, every club fought for a place in history. The league embraced professionalism, new TV deals, and a renewed sense of purpose. This was more than rebranding, it was a cultural transformation. The Superliga set the stage for decades of drama, rivalry, and growth. So, spring of 1991 was a really big deal. 10 clubs became the first ones in the Superliga. Teams like Brondby, Lyngby, AGF, and AAB carried the hopes of their towns into this new time. For the players, everything got way more serious. Every game was a big challenge. This new league brought all the best players and money together, which made everyone play better. Not everyone got to be in it, but the top 10 teams had a clear goal: make the Superliga a big hit. They didn't know what would happen, but their goal was super clear. Danish football was finally as good as the rest of Europe. The exciting journey had just started. The first Superliga season was a fast-paced, high-pressure sprint. 10 teams, 18 matches, no room for error. Fans packed stadiums, media attention soared, and the energy was electric. Brondby IF and Lyngby BK led a fierce title race, their rivalry captivating the nation. Every match felt like a final. Every point was vital. Newcomers like Silkeborg IF proved their worth, and no game was easy. The league's intensity pushed clubs and players to new heights. The Superliga delivered the drama and quality Denmark had longed for. The foundation was set for a new era of Danish football. The story of the Superliga was just beginning. The climax of the inaugural 1991 season was a day I will never forget. It all came down to the final round of matches. A two-horse race between my Brondby side and our rivals, Lyngby. We were level on points, but our fate was in our own hands due to a slightly better goal difference. If we won our final match, the historic first Superliga trophy would be ours. Our final opponent was AGF, away in Aarhus. The match itself was a battle of nerves, but we held our focus and managed to secure a hard-fought victory. The moment the final whistle blew was one of pure joy as we were crowned the first ever champions of the Danish Superliga. Celebrating with our fans was an unforgettable experience, a historic moment shared together. After the excitement of that first transitional season in the spring of 1991, the Superliga faced its next big test. This was the switch to the European autumn-spring calendar. The new season, 1991-92, would kick off in August and run through the winter, finishing the following May. For Danish football, this was, honestly, a radical departure from a century of tradition. We were used to playing through the warm summer months and having a long break during the cold, dark winter. Now we had to adapt to a new rhythm, one that aligned us with the major leagues in England, Germany, and Italy. This change, well, it presented some very practical challenges. The most obvious one was the Danish winter. Our climate is not exactly suited for football from December to February. The pitches would become frozen, heavy, and often covered in snow. Many stadiums at the time were not equipped with modern facilities like undersoil heating. This meant that matches were frequently postponed, leading to a congested fixture list later in the season. It was a difficult period of adjustment for clubs, ground staff, and players alike. Training in freezing conditions was tough, and the risk of injury was significantly higher on the poor playing surfaces. For the players, the new calendar also required a mental and physical recalibration. Our bodies were accustomed to a different cycle of playing and resting. The long winter break in the middle of the season was a new concept we had to get used to. It split the season into two distinct halves. A team that was flying high in November could struggle to find its form again when the league resumed in March. It demanded a new approach to fitness and conditioning to ensure we could maintain our peak performance levels across a 10-month campaign. It was a learning process for everyone involved, from the coaches to the medical staff. Despite these difficulties, the switch was absolutely crucial for the long-term health of Danish football. Aligning our season with the rest of Europe was essential for our clubs competing in UEFA competitions, like the Champions League and UEFA Cup. It meant our teams were in the middle of their season and therefore in peak match fitness when these important European games took place. Previously, our clubs would enter these competitions during their off-season or at the very end of their domestic campaign, which was a significant disadvantage. The new calendar was a key step in helping our clubs become more competitive on the international stage. The first few seasons of the Superliga were not just about new structures and calendars, they were about the players who brought the league to life. Every successful competition needs its heroes, its stars that fans can look up to, and that capture the public's imagination. In the early 1990s, the league was filled with established Danish internationals who had chosen to stay home or had returned from abroad. These players provided the quality and experience that were essential for establishing the credibility of the new top flight. They were the standard-bearers, the faces of the Superliga in its infancy. At Brondby, we had a team full of big personalities. Alongside myself in goal, we had leaders like defender Lars Olsen, who would captain Denmark to victory at Euro 1992, and the brilliant forward Bent Turbo Christensen. Our rivals Lyngby also had a formidable squad, led by the talented midfielder Henrik Larsson and striker Torben Frank. These were players at the peak of their powers, and their battles on the pitch were a joy to watch and be a part of. They gave the league an immediate identity and a high level of quality. Their presence ensured that the on-field product was compelling enough to draw in the fans and the television cameras. But the Superliga was also a crucial platform for the next generation of Danish talent. It provided a competitive environment where young players could develop and make a name for themselves. Clubs like AAB and AGF became known for their ability to nurture promising youngsters. One of the most exciting emerging talents of this era was Ebbe Sand. Playing for Brondby, he started to show the goal-scoring instincts that would later make him a star in Germany and a hero for the national team. The Superliga gave players like him the perfect stage to shine and take their first steps towards a great career in football. This blend of experienced veterans and exciting young prospects was the lifeblood of the early Superliga. It created a dynamic and unpredictable league. On any given weekend, you could witness a masterclass from an established international star or see a teenager score a wonder goal that announced his arrival on the big stage. This constant renewal of talent was vital. It ensured the league remained fresh and exciting, and it solidified its role as the primary incubator for the Danish national team. The early stars built the foundation, and the emerging talents guaranteed that the future of Danish football was in very good hands. The transition to a professional league wasn't smooth for every club. The Superliga's financial reality was often harsh, requiring significant investment in wages, stadiums, and staff. Not every club could easily make this leap. The early years brought financial growing pains. Television and sponsorships helped, but didn't solve all problems. Bad results led to smaller crowds, straining finances. Several clubs struggled to compete with financially stable teams. B1903 merged with Copenhagen's Bold Club in 1992 to create FC Copenhagen. a survival strategy. The merger highlighted the harsh realities of professional football, where clubs had to be run like businesses. Despite the challenges, the Superliga quickly established its identity in the early 90s. A key strategy was partnering with TV2, making Danish league football a regular fixture on television. This increased media exposure was vital for growth, creating stars and amplifying rivalries. It attracted new sponsors wanting to be associated with this exciting product. While my Brondby side won the first title, Lyngby BK and FC Copenhagen soon followed. By the mid-90s, the Superliga had successfully navigated its birth and was beginning to find its feet. The Superliga was no longer just a brave experiment, it was the undisputed heart of Danish football. Every great football league is defined by its great rivalries. These are the matches that fans mark on their calendars. In the early 1990s, the Superliga was about to witness the birth of a rivalry. This was the clash for the capital city, a battle that would pit the established kings of Brondby against a new force rising from the heart of Copenhagen. This was the beginning of the new firm. The creation of FC Copenhagen in 1992 was the spark that lit the fire, a direct challenge to Brondby's supremacy. They took over Parken, the national stadium, as their home ground, placing them right in the center of the city. A classic football narrative was born overnight. It gave the entire league a blockbuster fixture and became the crown jewel of the Danish football calendar. The formation of FC Copenhagen in 1992 was a seismic event. Driven by ambition, KB&B 1903 looked to the Superliga and the dominance of Brondby. To compete, they needed to pool resources, histories, and fan bases. FCK was created with one clear objective: to become number one. Their arrival was met with excitement and skepticism. By making Parken Stadium their home, they laid claim to the city's heart, adopting the lion symbol. In their first season, they did the unthinkable and won the league title. This stunning achievement sent shockwaves and signaled a new powerhouse. This galvanized their fan base and silenced critics. They were champions, establishing FCK as a legitimate threat and setting the stage for a fierce battle. When FC Copenhagen and Brondby meet, the entire country pays attention. This is the Copenhagen Derby, or as it's often called, the new firm. The atmosphere on Derby Day is electric, honestly unlike anything else in Danish sport. It is a contest that really transcends the 90 minutes on the pitch. It's about identity, pride, and the right to call Copenhagen your city. The fans play their part too, creating huge, elaborate visual displays known as tifos. Players who have experienced derbies in other countries often say that the atmosphere in Copenhagen is among the most intense they have ever witnessed. It is a match where form goes out the window, and passion, desire, and mental strength often decide the outcome. The Copenhagen Derby is the league's flagship event, a product that demonstrates the power and the passion of Danish football to the world. The first Copenhagen Derby in the Superliga took place September 6, 1992, at Brondby Stadium. This was a clash of two different worlds, two different identities. The match ended in a 1-1 draw, but the rivalry had begun. The return fixture at Parken was even more significant. FCK secured a 2-0 victory, a pivotal result in their journey to becoming champions. These initial encounters set the tone for the rivalry for years to come. The first battles for Copenhagen were the foundational stones upon which the greatest rivalry in Danish football history would be built. The rivalry between Brondby and FC Copenhagen is powerful because it is built on contrasting identities. Brondby's identity is rooted in the western suburbs, traditionally seen as the club of the working class. FC Copenhagen, residing in Parken, the national stadium, is the club of the capital city. Their nickname, the Lions, and their white kits project an image of power. These contrasting identities make the rivalry compelling. The Brondby fans are known for their loud support, creating a sea of yellow and blue. The FCK fans respond with their own displays of white and blue. The rivalry is a constant battle for cultural supremacy in Copenhagen. The Copenhagen Derby is not just fought on the pitch, it is also a fierce psychological battle. The media plays a huge role, highlighting key player matchups. A confident remark can be seen as a sign of strength by your own fans, and as arrogance by the opposition. The coaches are masters at motivating their own team while planting seeds of doubt in the minds of their rivals. For the players, the mental pressure is immense amidst the chaotic and hostile atmosphere. It takes incredible mental fortitude to block out the noise and execute the game plan. The fans are key protagonists, creating an intimidating atmosphere. The tifos are a statement of power. When a team scores, the explosion of sound can feel like a physical force. In the cauldron of a Copenhagen derby, the fans often are the 12th man. The team that can best handle this intense mental pressure is often the one that comes out on top. The Brondby FCK derby's early years produced unforgettable encounters, fueling the rivalry. The 1996 Danish Cup final saw Brondby victorious, winning 2-0. Another classic, Brondby's stunning 4-1 victory at Parken in the 1997-98 season. FCK had their moments too. A memorable 1-0 victory in 2001, sealed by Sibusiso Zuma's legendary bicycle kick. These matches cemented the Copenhagen derby as Danish football's most important and fiercely contested fixture. While the Copenhagen derby rightly grabbed most of the headlines, the Superliga was far from being a two-club show. The peninsula of Jutland, which makes up the western part of Denmark, has always been a proud and powerful football region. As the Superliga found its feet, intense rivalries also began to flourish there. The most prominent of these was the clash between the two biggest clubs from Jutland's two largest cities, AGF from Aarhus and AAB from Aalborg. This was a battle for regional supremacy, a fight to be known as the true powerhouse of the peninsula. The rivalry between AGF and AAB has deep roots. It is a classic rivalry between two major cities that are proud of their own distinct identities. Aarhus, the city of smiles, sees itself as the cultural capital of Jutland, while Aalborg is a tough industrial city with a proud history. When their football clubs meet, it is a contest of regional pride. The matches are always passionate, hard-fought affairs with large, noisy traveling support from both sides. Winning this derby means more than just 3 points. It means earning bragging rights over your regional neighbors, a prize that is fiercely coveted by the fans of both clubs. Another significant club from Jutland that began to make its mark in this era was Silkeborg IF. A smaller club from a smaller city, Silkeborg punched well above their weight. They achieved the remarkable feat of winning the Superliga title in the 1993-94 season, breaking the dominance of the Copenhagen clubs. This victory was an inspiration for all the smaller clubs in the league, proving that with smart management and a strong team spirit, anything was possible. Silkeborg's success created local rivalries with other Mid-Jutland clubs like Ikast FS, who would later become part of FC Midtjylland and Viborg FF, adding more layers of intrigue to the league. These Jutland rivalries were vital for the health and diversity of the Superliga. They ensured that the league was not just about the battle for Copenhagen. They provided compelling storylines and passionate local derbies across the country. The strength of clubs like AGF, AAB, and the surprise champions, Silkeborg created a more balanced and unpredictable competition. It showed that strong football communities existed all over Denmark, each with their own history, pride, and passion. The rise of these regional rivalries was a crucial part of the Superliga's development, helping it to become a truly national league. The mid to late 1990s were a truly special time for Danish football, remembered for the success of our national team. After our incredible triumph at Euro 1992, Danish football was on a high. This confidence filtered down into our home league, attracting players back to Denmark, and creating a golden era for the Superliga. It was a time when fans could go to their local stadium and watch genuine world-class talent, including players from that legendary 1992 national team. The league became a fantastic mix of established national heroes and the next generation of hungry young talent, creating a highly competitive and fun style of football. The stadiums were full, the media coverage was wide, and there was a genuine buzz around the competition. It was a period that proved that Danish football could be both successful on the international stage and have a thriving, high-quality home league at the same time. Looking back, my time in the Superliga with Brondby was super important for my career. It was where I grew from a young, promising goalie into someone ready to take on the world. The league gave me the perfect place to get better. Playing in those early, tough seasons of the Superliga, fighting for championships and playing in intense rivalry games, taught me what it meant to be a professional. It taught me how to handle pressure, how to lead from the back, and how to stay focused when things were most important. These were lessons I'd use for the rest of my career. I was part of a Brondby team that really wanted to win. We weren't happy just winning the Danish league. Our goal was to test ourselves against the very best in Europe. This big goal made all of us want to be better every single day in practice and in every game. I was lucky enough to play behind a great defense and with some of the best players in Danish history. Winning 4 Superliga titles with Brondby, including that first historic one, made me want more success. It made me hungry to win trophies, a feeling every top athlete chases. Those wins built my confidence and made me believe I could do well anywhere. My good playing in the Superliga and in European games for Brondby got me noticed by bigger clubs. In 1991, after that first Superliga title and a strong run in Europe, I got a once-in-a-lifetime chance to move to Manchester United. It was a dream come true, but it was also hard to leave the club that had helped me so much. My story, though, became an important one for the Superliga. It showed that our league was a place where players could reach the very top of world football. It proved that if you played well in Denmark, the biggest clubs in the world would be watching. This path became an inspiration for many young Danish players. They could see that starting their career in the Superliga wasn't a problem, it was a starting point. My journey, and the journeys of others who moved from the Superliga to top European clubs, helped make the league known as a great place to develop talent. It was a place where you could win trophies, play in front of excited fans, and still achieve your dream of playing in England, Italy, or Spain. The Superliga was the start of my career, and for that I will always be super thankful. In Denmark, no name is bigger than Laudrup. The Laudrup brothers are 2 of the most gifted footballers our country has ever produced. In 1998, Brian Laudrup announced he was returning to Denmark to play for FC Copenhagen. It was a sensational move that brought a true global superstar into our domestic league. He was returning from a stellar career, having won the Champions League with AC Milan, and become a legend at Rangers. Stadiums were packed with fans eager to see one of Denmark's greatest ever players in action. Although his time in the Superliga was brief due to injury, the impact of Brian Laudrup's return was profound. The memory of Brian Laudrup remains one of the most iconic images from this golden period. One of the main reasons we started the Superliga was to help our teams do better in big European games. And by the mid to late 90s, this idea really started to happen. The new league setup, which was more intense and ran from autumn to spring, meant our teams were much more ready for the tough games in the UEFA Champions League and the UEFA Cup. These European nights under the bright lights, playing against some of the biggest names in soccer, made us all super proud as a country. It was a chance for our clubs to show off Denmark and what our soccer was all about. Brondby was the first club to really shine here. Since they won the league a lot, they often got to play in the Champions League qualifiers. In the 1998 to 1999 season, they made history. After some really exciting qualifying games, they became the first Danish club to make it to the main Champions League group stage in its new form. This was a huge deal. We ended up in a super tough group, a real group of death, with giant teams like Manchester United, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich. No one thought we had a chance, but just being there was a massive win for Danish club soccer. That Champions League journey gave us some moments we'll never forget. The best part was definitely our home game against Bayern Munich. We played amazingly and beat the German giants 2-1. That result surprised everyone in Europe. A small club from Denmark had beaten one of the strongest teams in the world. That night the Brondby Stadium was absolutely buzzing. The fans' belief and noise were incredible. Even though we didn't get out of the group, that win showed that Danish clubs could play against and even beat the very best on a good day. It broke a huge mental barrier for us. Other clubs also had their big moments in Europe. AAB Aalborg also made it to the Champions League group stage in 1995, and clubs like AGF and FC Copenhagen often played in the UEFA Cup, learning a lot. These European trips were super important for the league to grow. They brought in money we really needed, made our clubs and players more famous, and gave our fans memories that would last forever. These amazing nights proved that the Superliga plan was working. We weren't just there to fill spots anymore, we were starting to challenge the big teams in European soccer. Before the Champions League, there was another European run that put the Superliga on the map and announced Brondby's arrival as a serious force. This was our journey in the 1990-91 UEFA Cup. We were a team full of confidence and talent, and we embarked on a fairy tale run to the semi-finals. We were drawn against Torpedo Moscow. After a narrow defeat in Moscow, we needed a miracle at home. I managed to save a crucial penalty to send us through. Our reward was a semi-final clash against AS Roma. We scored a crucial away goal and were just minutes away from the final. In the end, our dream was shattered by a late goal from Rudi Völler. Despite the defeat, we returned to Denmark as heroes. This unforgettable journey gave us the belief that fueled our success. The 1995-96 Superliga season gave us one of the best title races in Danish football history. It was a season-long battle between Brondby IF and AGF from Aarhus. For the whole season, we were in a huge fight for the championship. The lead at the top of the standings seemed to change every other week. It was a race that had the whole country hooked. As the season got closer to the end, the pressure became almost too much to handle. It all came down to the last few games of the season. It was a title race for the ages, heading towards an ending that no one would ever forget. The big soccer championship in 1995-96 between Brondby and AGF all came down to the very last day of the season. We were playing at home against AGF, 1 point behind them. We had to win. It was a winner-take-all game at a packed Brondby stadium. As the clock went past 90 minutes, the score was still 0-0. In the last few seconds of extra time, we got a corner kick, our last chance. Our defender, Soren Kolding, jumped the highest and hit the ball with a strong header. The ball flew into the back of the net. The stadium exploded. That goal won us the championship. That single goal is probably the most famous and most important goal in the history of the Superliga. The period from the early to the late 1990s was truly a golden age for the Superliga. It was a time defined by incredible players, unforgettable European nights, and the most dramatic title race in our history. These moments did more than just create exciting memories. They built a powerful and lasting legacy that has shaped the league for decades. They established the Superliga as a credible, competitive, and highly entertaining competition. They proved that Danish football could not only produce world-class players, but could also provide a stage for them to shine at home, in front of their own fans. The success of clubs like Brondby in Europe, culminating in that Champions League group stage appearance, raised the bar for everyone. It created a new level of ambition. Other clubs saw what was possible and began to invest in their squads and their infrastructure, hoping to emulate that success. This created a ripple effect, improving the overall quality and professionalism of the entire league. The dream of competing in Europe was no longer a distant fantasy. It was a tangible goal that drove clubs to become better, stronger, and more ambitious in their planning for the future. For the fans, this era forged an unbreakable bond with their clubs, and with the league itself. The passion of the Copenhagen derby, the pride of the Jutland rivalries, and the shared national experience of the European adventures brought people together. The drama of the 1996 title race created a new generation of lifelong supporters. These golden moments became the stories that fathers would tell their children, the legends passed down through generations. They gave the Superliga a rich history, a soul, and a collection of I was there moments that are the lifeblood of any great sporting competition. Ultimately, the legacy of this golden era was one of inspiration. It inspired players to believe they could reach the top by starting their careers in Denmark. It inspired clubs to dream bigger and aim higher. And it inspired fans to invest their hearts and souls into their local teams. This period laid the foundation for the modern Superliga. It proved that our small country could create a big league full of passion, drama, and quality. The stars, the European nights, and that one famous last-minute goal were not just fleeting moments of glory, they were the building blocks of the league's identity and a source of inspiration that continues to fuel Danish football today. As we moved into the 2000s, the Superliga entered a new phase. The league had to adapt to the changing realities of modern football, with money exploding in Europe's biggest leagues. Danish football had to shift with it to remain relevant. Clubs became smarter, focusing on long-term strategy, clever recruitment, and youth development. Clubs began to understand that their most valuable asset was their academy. The structure of the league itself also continued to evolve, eventually introducing a new playoff system. This period was one of maturation for the Superliga, becoming more of a business. The Superliga of the new millennium was a smarter, more sustainable, and more forward-thinking competition. In the story of the modern Superliga, no club represents the new way of thinking better than FC Midtjylland. Formed in 1999 from a merger of two rival clubs, Ikast FS and Herning Fremad, they were born from the same kind of ambition that created FC Copenhagen. But their approach to achieving success was completely different and honestly, revolutionary for Danish football. From their early days, FC Midtjylland embraced a philosophy that was deeply rooted in data, analytics, and a scientific approach to the game. This was something very new to our football culture, which had always been based more on tradition, intuition, and passion. Their model was famously championed by their majority shareholder Matthew Benham, who had made his fortune in the world of professional betting. He believed that football club decisions from player recruitment to on-field tactics could be improved by using statistical analysis to find undervalued assets and identify hidden weaknesses in opponents. They became famous for their focus on expected goals, or XG, and for their mastery of set pieces, which they identified through data as one of the most inefficient areas of football. They would relentlessly practice and perfect their corner and free kick routines, scoring a huge number of goals from these situations and gaining a vital edge over their rivals. This innovative approach, well, it began to pay off handsomely. After years of being a solid top-flight club, FC Midtjylland broke the Brondby FC AAB dominance and won their first ever Superliga title in the 2014-15 season. This was a monumental achievement that sent a clear message to the rest of the league: there was a new way to win. Their success was not a fluke. They repeated the feat, winning more titles and establishing themselves as a new powerhouse in Danish football. They proved that you didn't need the biggest budget or the most glamorous city to become champions. You needed to be smarter. The rise of FC Midtjylland forced every other club in Denmark to sit up and take notice. Their success challenged the old traditional ways of running a football club. Other teams began to invest more in their own data analysis departments and to think more critically about their recruitment strategies. FC Midtjylland didn't just win trophies, they changed the conversation in Danish football. They introduced a new philosophy and proved that innovation and a willingness to challenge conventional wisdom could be the key to success in the modern game. Their story is, without a doubt, one of the most important and influential in the Superliga's recent history. If there is one thing that defines the modern Superliga and gives it its unique place in European football, it is its incredible focus on youth development. As the financial gap to the top 5 leagues widened, Danish clubs realized they could not compete by buying expensive established stars. Instead, they had to create them. The league collectively pivoted towards a strategy of becoming one of the best talent development hubs in Europe. The club's academies became the most important part of their entire operation. This was no longer just a way to save money, it was the core of their identity and their business model. This focus on youth is visible at every club, from the biggest to the smallest. Teams like FC Nordsjaelland have built a global reputation for their Right to Dream Academy, which not only develops fantastic footballers, but also focuses on education and character development. They have consistently given first-team opportunities to incredibly young players, trusting them to perform on the biggest stage. Brondby has its famous Masterclass Academy, and FC Copenhagen and FC Midtjylland have also invested heavily in their youth setups, creating state-of-the-art facilities and hiring the best youth coaches. The competition to find and nurture the next big star is now as fierce as the competition on the pitch. This strategy has a wonderful, positive feedback loop. When young players see that the Superliga gives teenagers a real chance to play first-team football, they are more likely to stay in Denmark to develop their careers. They know they won't just be sitting on the bench or playing in a reserve league, they will be given meaningful minutes in a competitive professional environment. This makes the Superliga a very attractive place for the best young talent in Scandinavia and beyond. It has created a culture where youth is not seen as a risk, but as an asset. Coaches are brave and fans are patient with young players, understanding they are watching the future unfold. The results of this focus are clear to see. Every season, the Superliga produces a new crop of exciting young talents who shine in the league before making big money moves to top clubs across Europe. This has become the lifeblood of the Danish football economy. The transfer fees received for these players are reinvested back into the academies, the facilities, and the first team, allowing the clubs to continue the cycle of development and success. The Superliga has successfully transformed itself into a talent factory, a league renowned for creating the stars of tomorrow, which is a source of immense pride for all of us. The Superliga's youth program has produced some of the biggest names in Danish and world soccer. Players like Christian Eriksen and Simon Kjær learned their skills in Denmark. They went on to star in the Premier League and Serie A. More recently, players like Joachim Andersen, Andreas Christensen, and Pierre-Emil Højbjerg got their start in the Superliga. The biggest clubs in the world now send their scouts to Denmark every single weekend. The trip from a Superliga stadium to the Champions League is a path many have taken. We are helping them grow for the world stage and for the future of the Danish national team. While youth development is the cornerstone of the modern Superliga, the league has also benefited immensely from the influence of foreign players. In the 2000s and beyond, our clubs became much smarter at scouting and recruiting talent from abroad. They looked for players in markets that were often overlooked by the bigger leagues, finding hidden gems from across Scandinavia, Africa, and the Americas. These international players have brought new skills, different styles of play, and a valuable cultural diversity to our league, raising the overall quality and making it more exciting and unpredictable for the fans. Some of these foreign imports have gone on to become true legends of the Superliga. Think of Sibusiso Zuma at FC Copenhagen. The South African forward was not just a great player, he was an entertainer who scored one of the most iconic goals in the league's history with his famous bicycle kick. He became a huge fan favorite and a symbol of how a foreign player could embrace a club and be embraced by the fans in return. Another great example is Dame Ndoye, the Senegalese striker who was a prolific goalscorer for FCK, and led them to great success both domestically and in Europe. The key to successful foreign recruitment in the Superliga has been finding the right balance. Clubs look for players who not only have the technical quality, but also the right mentality to adapt to Danish culture and the demands of the league. They often sign young foreign players who, like their Danish counterparts, see the Superliga as the perfect place to grow and develop. A player might come from Brazil or Ghana, spend 2 or 3 seasons shining in our league, and then make a big move to Germany or England. In this way, the Superliga acts as a fantastic stepping stone not just for Danish players, but for international talent as well. This mix of homegrown Danish talent and carefully selected foreign stars has created a vibrant and dynamic league. The Danish players provide the core identity and the connection to the community, while the international players bring a different flair and a global perspective. This blend is what makes the on-field product so interesting. On any given weekend, you can see a future Danish national team star playing alongside a future star from Senegal or Sweden. This foreign legion has played a crucial role in shaping the modern Superliga, making it stronger, more diverse, and more connected to the global world of football. One of the most wonderful things about the modern Superliga is the fan culture that surrounds it. While the league has become more professional and businesslike, it has managed to maintain a very authentic and passionate connection with its supporters. The atmosphere inside Danish stadiums is a fantastic blend of traditional passionate support and a modern family-friendly environment. This is something that we in Denmark are very proud of. Going to a football match is a safe, enjoyable, and accessible experience for everyone, from the most hardcore ultras to young children attending their very first game. The active fan groups like Brondby's Sidsiden and FCK's Section 12 are still the heart and soul of the matchday atmosphere. They continue to produce incredible tifos, the large-scale visual displays that are among the best in Europe. The coordinated singing, chanting, and flag-waving create a wall of noise and color that gives each team a huge boost. This passionate support is a vital part of the league's identity. However, this intensity is generally confined to the dedicated fan sections. In the rest of the stadium, the atmosphere is relaxed and welcoming, which is a balance that many other leagues struggle to achieve. Clubs have also invested heavily in improving the overall fan experience. The stadiums are modern, clean, and comfortable. The facilities, from food and drink options to club shops, have been significantly upgraded over the years. Clubs are also very good at using social media and digital platforms to engage with their supporters throughout the week, not just on match day. They create content that tells the stories of the players and the club, building a deeper connection with the fan base. This focus on the fan experience has helped to keep attendance figures healthy and has attracted a new younger generation of supporters to the league. This strong, positive fan culture is one of the Superliga's greatest strengths. It is a league where the passion is real and visible, but it is also a league where you can feel safe and welcome. The relationship between the clubs and their fans is built on mutual respect. The clubs recognize that the fans are their most important asset, and the fans feel a genuine sense of ownership and pride in their local team. This creates a special atmosphere that is both intensely passionate and genuinely wholesome, making the Superliga a wonderful league to experience firsthand. For all its successes, the modern Superliga faces one constant and significant challenge: how to stay competitive in a European football landscape dominated by financial giants. We are a small country with a population of less than 6 million people. Our television market and sponsorship opportunities are naturally smaller than those in England, Spain, or Germany. This means our clubs will always have to operate with smaller budgets than their counterparts in the Big Five leagues. This financial reality shapes every decision our clubs make and defines our place in the wider football ecosystem. The biggest consequence of this financial gap is that the Superliga is, by necessity, a selling league. When one of our clubs develops a top-class player, it is almost inevitable that they will eventually be sold to a bigger club in a richer league. While this is a successful business model, it presents a constant challenge on the sporting side. It is very difficult for a club to build a team for the long term when its best players are likely to leave after just 2 or 3 successful seasons. Every summer, a manager might lose their top goal scorer or their best defender and have to start the rebuilding process all over again. This challenge is most apparent when our clubs compete in Europe. While we have had some famous victories and have qualified for the group stages of both the Champions League and the Europa League on numerous occasions, it is incredibly difficult to compete consistently against teams who can spend more on one player than our clubs have for their entire annual budget. A great European run is often the result of a club having a golden generation of players all at once, but it is very hard to sustain that success once that team is broken up by bigger clubs cherry-picking the best talent. Despite these challenges, the Superliga continues to fight and find ways to punch above its weight. The focus on youth development, smart data-driven recruitment, and strong tactical coaching are all strategies designed to bridge this financial gap. Our clubs have accepted their role in the football food chain and have turned it into a strength. They have become experts at identifying and developing talent and then selling it on for a profit that allows them to reinvest and repeat the cycle. It is a constant battle, but it is one that the Superliga has learned to fight very well, ensuring its survival and relevance in a tough environment. So where does the Danish Superliga stand today, on this day in 2024? It stands as a league that is comfortable and confident in its own identity. We have learned that we cannot be the English Premier League or the German Bundesliga, and we don't try to be. Instead, we've carved out our own unique niche in the world of football. We're a league of development, a league of innovation, and a league of passionate, authentic fan culture. We're a competition that is respected across Europe for our professionalism, our tactical intelligence, and our incredible ability to produce world-class footballers. The league today is arguably more competitive than ever. The rise of FC Midtjylland and FC Nordsjaelland has created a multi-club battle for the championship, breaking the old duopoly of Brondby and FC Copenhagen. This unpredictability makes the title race incredibly exciting year after year. The playoff system ensures that there are meaningful games right until the end of the season, not just at the top but also in the battle for European places and the fight to avoid relegation. The quality of football is high, with a focus on technical skill and tactical organization that makes it a fascinating league for the neutral observer. The Superliga's role in the global football ecosystem is clear and vital. We're a crucial part of the talent pipeline. We find the rough diamonds, we polish them in our academies, and we give them their first taste of top-level professional football in a competitive but nurturing environment. We're the perfect stepping stone. The success of Danish players abroad and the strength of our national team are direct reflections of the health and quality of our domestic league. The Superliga is the engine room of Danish football, and right now, that engine is running very smoothly. For me, as someone who was there at the very beginning, it's a source of immense pride to see what the Superliga has become. It has grown from a brave idea into a mature, stable, and highly respected European league. It has navigated the massive changes in football over the past 3 decades with intelligence and foresight. It has stayed true to its core values of community and development while embracing modern innovation. The Superliga today is a league that Denmark can be truly proud of, a shining example of how a small country can make a big impact on the world's most beautiful game. The Danish Superliga's journey from its 1991 birth to a respected European league is a story of progress. Born from a need to professionalize, it was a gamble that paid off. Its legacy impacts Danish football's structure, from grassroots to the national team, providing a platform for our footballing culture. The Superliga gave Danish football a strong home. It created a professional environment for talent development and club growth. This viable league is its greatest achievement. The league has given us iconic rivalries and unforgettable moments woven into our sporting folklore. The Superliga has created heroes passed down through generations. Ultimately, the Superliga's legacy is ambition fulfilled, raising standards, and providing a better player pathway. It has given us thrilling title races and memorable European nights. It is the heartbeat of our nation's favorite sport. The Superliga is more than just a game, it's a key part of everyday Danish life. It connects people, offering a shared excitement regardless of age or background. Clubs symbolize local identity. AAB embodies Northern Jutland's pride, while AGF represents Aarhus. Matches become battles of local pride, reflecting community spirit. The league mirrors Danish values, community, inclusivity, and respect. Innovation, like FC Midtjylland's data-driven approach, showcases Denmark's modern thinking. The Superliga reflects modern Denmark, proud of its heritage yet forward-looking. It offers heroes, rivalries, and shared celebrations, enhancing our lives. For Denmark, a strong league is vital, showcasing what we achieve together. The Superliga is more than a league, it's a cultural institution. As we look towards the future, there is every reason to be optimistic. The Superliga has shown a remarkable ability to adapt and innovate. The key to the league's future success will continue to be its commitment to youth development. By continuing to invest in our academies, coaching education, and facilities, we can ensure that the Superliga remains one of the premier destinations for young, ambitious players. Innovation will also be crucial. Danish clubs will need to continue to be smart to find new ways to gain a competitive edge. Most importantly, the future of the league depends on maintaining the strong bond with the fans and the local communities. The Danish Superliga may be a small league from a small country, but its impact is felt far beyond our borders. It has successfully carved out a significant and respected place for itself within the global football ecosystem. We are not at the top of the food chain, and we understand that, but we play a crucial and symbiotic role within it. The biggest clubs in the world now look to Denmark as a reliable source of high-quality, well-educated, and mentally strong professional footballers. Our league has become an essential stop on the global talent pipeline, a stage where the world's top scouts come to find the superstars of tomorrow. This is a role we should embrace with immense pride. This global reputation elevates the status of the entire league. It validates our development model and inspires every young player in every Danish academy. They can see a clear and achievable path from their local club to the very pinnacle of the sport. Our league is a platform for Danish dreams to take flight on the world stage. What makes the Danish Superliga so special? For me, it comes down to a unique blend of heart and mind. It is a league that has the heart of a passionate, community-based football culture, combined with the mind of a modern, innovative organization. We have managed to adapt to the modern game without sacrificing the soul that makes football so important. This combination of passion and pragmatism, of heart and mind, is what defines the Superliga. It is, and always will be, very special.